Welcome to the Parent Advocate Podcast, a show where we celebrate, defend, support, and uplift the voices of the LGBTQIA community. I'm your host, Stephen Tzaczyk. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Lizette and Theo.
Hello, everyone. Lizette here, she, her, Aya. The mission of the Parent Advocate Podcast is to elevate conversations and reframe narratives around trans and non-binary youth to help change hearts and minds. Each week, we bring you our take on all things happening from the perspective of two parents of BIPOC transgender kids.
Lizette, I have got so much on my chest, and since we don't have a guest this week, I propose we do one of our Epic Rant episodes.
Stephen, why are we vibing today? I'm here for it. With everything going on in Massachusetts, the Supreme Court, and what we're learning about Project 2025's plan for LGBTQ plus people, we've got to unpack it all.
Well, you know I'm here. So welcome everyone once again to the Parent Advocate Podcast. Let's get started.
Let's do this.
All right, Lisette, once again, we've got to jettison our regularly scheduled program and get to business.
I'm ready. I want to hear your thoughts. Debrief with me.
So do you want to go first or should I?
No. Go ahead. You start.
All right. So I know you know that a transgender teenager, Jayden, and I'm probably going to fuck up his last name, so I apologize in advance, Tzaczyk, was seriously injured at what police are calling a suspected hate crime at a party in the woods in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Apparently, he was attacked by, I don't know if it's former classmates or classmates at another school, but he suffered a broken bone under his eye, nerve damage, and other injuries while he was being beaten and subjected to a slew of anti-LGBTQ slurs and insults. Now, apparently the assault took place in this abandoned village called Dogtown, with reports indicating that up to 30 kids may have participated in assaulting this child. And Jayden and his mother believe that the attack was hate motivated because he'd been bullied by some of the attackers who were former football team teammates. Now, local LGBTQ plus organizations have obviously condemned the violence and called for accountability, as well as stronger protections for trans youth. And all of us are waiting to see what's going to become of it, because as we all know, oftentimes when LGBTQ plus people are attacked, people are ready to turn the tables and say it was the victim who caused the injuries that they suffered, or they were an equally bad actor in the moment, and not recognize that this follows a pattern of trans people being attacked because of their identity. Period. Full stop.
Stephen, this is heartbreaking. I know that this is a fear you and I have often talked about with our own kids as they start to, do the teenage things or the college things of going to a barbecue or being out or dating. Gender-based violence is rampant. And hearing stories like this just make me feel like I need to sit Daniel down and have another one of our safety talks. And also, it's heartbreaking to have to constantly remind our children to be on guard for their safety.
It's just the kind of thing that I don't really think that parents of non-gender expansive children really appreciate. Literally, ever since I met the Shepherds, I have had this just overwhelming fear for my child's safety, created not because of who he is, but because of how other people will react to him. And that is a fucked up position to constantly be in. People don't appreciate the fact that these are children doing bad acts to other children. We've got to get to a point where people are like, you know what? You and I shouldn't have to talk to our children about being safe. Other parents should talk to their children about not being assholes, about not being violent, about not being racist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic assholes. That's what parents need to be doing. Because if these parents are out here trying to turn the tables and say, this young boy, if you've seen pictures of Jayden is a slight thing. He's not some big, burly, out here trying to pick fights with anybody kind of person. He was a kid who went with other friends to what he thought was a party.
It's awful.
And imagine, Lisette, for a moment, that you're that kid at night in the woods, in the dark, being chased after having been jumped. Imagine the fear that child's face. Imagine the trauma that they're still experiencing. And now I ask every parent who's listening to this show, put your child in that position. And how would you feel if that was your child in that position?
I asked Judy once how she did it, right? I was like, how did you move forward? How do you do this? after suffering this kind of loss. And she said that the grief and the anger was so overwhelming that it was in the doing, right? In the building the Matthew Shepard Foundation, and then the, speaking out over and over again around hate crimes, that was the fuel, but it still brought tears to her eyes. 20 plus years later, no parent should have to suffer the loss of their child through this type of violence. And no child should be a victim of it just because they're LGBTQIA. And so it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking the long term. I think it's so important that when you were sharing this, at the jump, you shared the injuries, because some of those are long-term injuries, right? Like, it's not like kids being kids are just fighting. It's like 30 children, like physically damaged parts of Jayden's body that's going to take time to heal, and the emotional trauma of that level of assault. It's just terrifying. And I don't have enough words to like explain the fear I think we all feel for our children when they're out and about.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I really want to impress upon people. Like, we can't stay silent in this moment. You can't just go on like business as usual. This is a pattern that we're seeing now more and more, where once again, it is children that are the bad actors causing harm to other children. And I say harm, but harm could also mean death, because that's also what we're talking about. Children are dying as a result of this behavior. So let's not just be like, oh, well, and keep it moving. Let's really take time to sit and talk to our children about how to treat other people, about how to see the humanity in other people, about how to intervene when they see other children acting badly and behaving badly and causing injury to marginalized people. It's just not things that should be acceptable to any of us. And it's things that we as parents should be stepping in to teach our children how to be. Now, Lizette, we could talk about this one topic for the rest of the show, but I know we have other things to get off our chest, but I just had to start there because after Next Benedict, after River Nevaeh, after Jayden, I couldn't not say anything. And there's other names. I won't take up too much time, but there are other young people who suffered death at the hands of other young people, and people have to recognize it's a problem.
I also, before we move on to our next topic, I want to highlight something that you told me earlier, which was it's adults teaching kids how to hate and how to harm. Because this rhetoric came from lobbies who funneled millions and millions of dollars in ads and misinformation into communities, hoping that this level of violence would happen, right? It's politicians, it's adults at the core of how kids are behaving, And so I just wanted to highlight that part, because I know when you said it, it hit, and I was like, you're 1,000% right. Okay. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to something exciting, very exciting to me. And I'm just going to read a quote from Billboard magazine. Reclusive pop chanteuse Sade's first song in more than 6 years will be released in November when her track Young Lion appears on the Transa Benefit album from the Red Hot organization. The 46-track concept LP is due out November 22nd and features collaborations between more than 100 artists, including Sam Smith, Laura Jane Grace, Devandra Banhart, Wilco's, Jeff Tweedy, Barty Strange, Julian Baker, Teddy Geiger, Hunter Schafer, and my favorite, Andre 3000. So the reason why I'm really excited about this is because, Stephen, you and I know that there's nothing more important as parent advocates to see celebrity parent advocates using their major platforms to advocate and support and love their trans kids. And so seeing Sade finally, after years of me following her son, Izaak Theo, on IG, we get the tribute song we've all been waiting for. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And honestly, I'm just like, I know and you know that visibility matters. And when parents show up loudly in love and support of their children, others follow our example. And so on the 22nd, I'm playing it on Tidal. I don't know, but I'm gonna take a listen. And then you can hear Andre 3000's like angelic flute in the background, which just made me happier.
Everybody needs to know that Lizette is in love with Andre 3000 and this angelic flute. Before we started recording, she was talking about, can you hear Andre 3000's angelic flute? I was like, child, ain't nobody listen for this damn fool's flute. But I am so happy that you get all the feels when you hear it. And I can't front. I love me some Sade.
Mm-hmm.
I
I know.
love me some Sade. And I love me some Sade even more now that I know that Izaak Theo is her son. And she's got a song in this Red Hot organization's multi-track album devoted to him. Now, for y'all who don't know, Sade's Nigerian. Okay, so there is
I love that.
love coming now for her. And, as Nigerian people whose own people are not particularly supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, it just warms my heart to see a fellow Nigerian repping for her child in the way that she is.
And I believe she's Muslim as well. So we have like these like intersections, right? That are meeting where most people would say, oh, no, they're not, it's not representative of like affirming love for your queer child. And that's not true. We come from all different types of backgrounds and faith, and we love our children. We want them to be safe and to do well. And following Izaak Theo's journey, but his journey began around the time Daniel, and he was documenting it online. And while Daniel's like 20 plus years younger than him, it was beautiful to watch in photos someone's journey as a parent who was on this walking this new journey with my 8-year-old. And obviously Sade is an icon. And so I think having this like iconic mother who's like showing up in love was like everything I needed to see, at that time. That was like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. This is important. This is important to walk alongside our children. And so I'm just really excited about this song and excited to see so many big names tied to this EP, this benefit album. And so I think, even though I think politicians thought that their hate mongering was going to stop the movement, I feel like it's propelled us into visibility and action in a way that they probably didn't expect. And so there's no going back, right? Like people are fighting back with their art and with their voices. And so it's exciting.
It's funny because this morning I saw two headlines that really inspired me. One was about Sade and this Transa album, and the second was about Will and Harper, Will Ferrell's movie,
Yes.
where he takes a road trip with his like long friend Harper, who transitioned late in life after he knew them from SNL. And just I saw a short clip of a trailer, and in the trailer he's at a bar or at a restaurant, and he's like, this is my friend Harper, and the person says, yeah, cool, bro, and he's like, not a bro. Like he immediately corrects him, and that part like really it hit me. Like Lizette, I literally like got choked up because it's not something that he'd been living with for a very long time, but he knew in that moment the way to affirm Harper is to correct this person, and he just does it automatically. He doesn't even think about it. And it's like, it's this kind of stuff. It's like affirmation of people where you see them and you recognize them and you support them and you don't have to think about it. Like Sade did not have to do this album. Sade did not have to do an album and talk about her child at all. And yet she used her platform. She used her emergence out of 6 years of being AWOL to drop a track in a critical time in the lives of the LGBTQ plus community to affirm her child and to show the world what support looks like. And it just got me this morning. It really did.
Stephen, the Will and Harper trailer had me in my feels. Like I cried.
I'm saying.
I know. I can't wait. I literally was like, why are you doing this to me? End of the month. I can't wait to watch.
Yes. Okay. So we've got to talk about dumb Donald Trump again, who has tried to distance himself from Project 2025. For those who do not know, it's a far-right Christian nationalist agenda, but its proposals align almost one-to-one with Trump's proposed policies, including limiting gender-affirming care for trans minors. Before speaking at the Moms for Liberty Summit, Trump discussed banning trans women from women's sports and cutting funding to facilities providing care to trans youth. At the summit, he spread false rumors and claims about minors receiving gender-affirming surgeries without parental consent. He even described a fictional scenario where schools authorized surgeries on children despite zero evidence to support his claim, because when does Trump ever actually provide evidence to support his claim? He just speaks out his ass and his MAGA fans just lap it up. Trump's rhetoric reflects growing efforts to restrict trans rights and control LGBTQ plus policies in education.
Stephen, when I heard him say that, I was like, is he really trying to tell us that the early 2000 Katie Holmes movie Disturbing Behavior was real? Do you remember? Did you watch that movie where like they were going to school and the parents were having them like put a brain chip in so that they could be smart and behave well? Like I was like, what is this? What is this bullshit that you're trying to like fabricate into reality? It doesn't make sense. It makes zero sense to me. Do you think people actually believe it?
That's the part. There are people who are simply not discerning and who take what he says hook, line, and sinker. We are talking about his uneducated. He loves the uneducated. He says to them that he loves the uneducated, and they lap it up. They're like, yeah, he loves me. I'm sorry. He's calling you uneducated. He's duping you. You're being duped voluntarily. So do I think people believe him? Yes, people believe him. But I don't know which him they believe, because Project 2025, Agenda 47, they're the same thing, but he tries to act like he knows nothing about Project 2025. He goes to a Moms for Liberty event where he's talking about the agenda in Project 2025, and then he says he knows nothing about Project 2025. Okay, pick a lane, Trump. Pick a lane. You know your followers are not smart enough to follow you when you're doing this flip-flopping, so which one are they supposed to follow? And whenever you see them being asked questions or interviewed about his policies and what they think, typically by somebody who has an agenda to make them look stupid and foolish, and he walks them down a path where they're like, yeah, if you got a felony conviction, you should be president. So you don't think anyone with a felony conviction should be president? No, they're not qualified to be president. So should Trump be president? Oh, that's different. Like, you sound stupid, but this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who can't put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4.
Right now, you made my brain break. And like and this is what happens whenever I watch like those like interviews of Trump supporters. Like my brain collapses on itself. Like it doesn't know what to do because it's irrational. It's irrational. So wild.
Dissonance. It is so wild.
All right, Stephen. I'm super excited about this next topic because it's been months. Well, it's been a year in the making. And we are only 1 week away from the Gender Liberation March in DC. That's all like, yeah, crowd goes crazy. Steven, let's talk about the speaker list, okay? Because I pinched myself this morning when they posted it. I was like, what? We have Elliot Page. We have Miss Major. We have Raquel Willis. We have my friend Sol Jimenez. And so many, many more. But then they have you, I, and Daniel. What? How are we on the same poster as Miss Major?
Let me tell you something. I am going to find that sound, and I'm going to put it after every name you put, because that is what this speaker list is. This speaker list is just fire, flame on fire. I cannot wait. Lizette, when I tell you I cannot wait for what is now not this weekend, but next weekend, to be down in DC to see all of y'all, as well as all of the wonderful diversity that is this community. We're going, so hey, we haven't even told people like what that day consists of. All right. So first, we're going to have an opening ceremony. Then we're going to have a march. We're going to go past the Capitol. We're going to go past the Supreme Court. We're going to go past the Heritage Foundation. And then we're going to come back for a rally. And then we're going to have a little festival. We are going to have a party in DC. Hello?
There's a little rumor that we're going to have a DJ in front of the Heritage Foundation.
Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Because if we get to do a little dance party, fabulous flaming dance party in front of the Heritage Foundation, I am for it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm ready. Take that, Heritage. I've been dealing with their bullshit in Arizona for years.
I don't know how you've managed, because they're the worst. They are absolute worst.
They've literally made me tired. That's what they've done. I blame them for my weight gain and my tired. My stress eating.
We're going to give them a party on their doorstep. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. And I honestly can't wait to see you. So it'll be very exciting. For those who have not heard about Gender Liberation March, even though we've been talking about it for a week, you still have time to show up. You still have time to come and celebrate with us and march in solidarity with us.
So Lizette, if they want to get more information, where should they go?
They need to go to @GenderLibMarch on IG. They can find them on Facebook, on X, and on Threads. And or just follow Raquel Willis if you haven't already, and you'll see all the information for GenderLib too.
You could also go to genderlib.com, where all the information about how you can register, about the march route, about when things start, about where to go, and get your information on.
Okay. If you come, you can just come say hi to me and Stephen. We're going to be recording stuff there too, which is exciting.
So, Lizette, I feel better. I got a lot off my chest. I feel better. How about you?
I feel better too. I feel like, okay, we dotted the I's, we perioded the sentences.
Well, that's... I've never heard that before. We perioded the sentences.
I figured since we were talking about gender live and be pro rights and like gender affirming care, we could period the sentences.
Okay, well, we perioded the sentences, and that's our show for today, folks. I've got to thank my very mindful, very demure, and very cutesy co-host Lizette and Theo for allowing me to just rant today.
Stephen, I love your rants. They make me feel demure, cutesy, and thoughtful and mindful because you bring all the things to these rants. And you know I couldn't do this without you, Stephen. And we couldn't do this without all of you, our listeners. So thank you for tuning in to The Parent Advocate.
And folks, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast channel and YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and do whatever you've got to do to stay up to date with everything going on here at the Parent Advocate Podcast.
Goodbye.